I didn't do that right off the bat. I think I did that on video like 5 or 6 was the first time I wore a beanie, and then that just stuck. I like that look. It fit with Geno, so I kept that. Hey guys, so today I actually have some interesting news regarding my all-time favorite character, Geno. Considering Hero is probably going to get released fairly soon, and it's very possible that those Square Mii costumes will return alongside Hero in the same way the Sega Sonic Mii costumes returned alongside Joker. It's possible we could be getting the Geno Mii costume back, and then I'll probably not have any other chances to talk about Geno getting into Smash, but today we actually have some news regarding Geno, or at least some news regarding Super Mario RPG. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself here and start saying that, Geno could be confirmed as one of our last 2 DLC fighters for the Fighter Pass, or Geno's going to be an extra character after the Fighter Pass, or something like that, but it's definitely possible these tracks could be coming to something like Smash. Maybe we will get that Mii Geno costume back alongside Hero when Hero gets released. It's a very popular thing. People obviously really want Geno in Smash. People really want... First off, of course, during the Smash Wii U and 3DS DLC cycle, we got the Geno Mii Fighter outfit added. This was the first time we'd seen something Mario RPG in a Nintendo game in a really, really long time. And of course, tons of Smash fans are fans of Geno and have wanted Geno in Smash, so it did make sense for Sakurai when he finally started negotiating with Square to get something Geno into Smash. And it was this Mii Fighter outfit. And of course, the most prominent Mario RPG stuff in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate are the Geno and Malo spirits in Spirit Mode. Considering Square only gave the 2 versions of Cloud and then Geno and Malo as spirits for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and now ever since getting that Geno Mii costume, considering Hero's supposed to release pretty soon and the Geno Mii costume could happen alongside him, there is of course also the fringe possibility that Geno is one of our DLC fighters. I don't know about that. I would love to think that could happen. I'm pretty satisfied just getting Banjo in the game, and I'm just kind of hopeful that we get the Geno Mii costume back at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility Geno could happen. We have gotten a lot of fan-favorite characters like Ridley, K. Rool, and Banjo in Smash this time, so maybe Sakurai's just saving Geno for the end. Personally, I'm just hopeful for the Geno Mii costume to come back, though. Or just getting those tracks into Smash, maybe alongside the Geno Mii costume if that returns. Anything like that would make me really, really happy. And those 2 tracks do kind of fit Geno, at least Beware the Forest Mushrooms definitely does. So what do you guys think? Do you think Nintendo putting copyright claims on those 2 specific tracks means that we could see them in Super Smash Bros., maybe alongside that Geno Mii costume? Do you think it means maybe Geno's a possibility as a DLC character?
We're also adding in new Mii Fighter costumes. Please take a look.
Ooh, okay, we're gonna get Geno or not? I don't know. I don't know which one I want. I want Geno because I could play Mii Gunner, but kind of don't want him because then it could mean he's like an extra character or something. Alright, so Dragon Quest Mii costumes first. Make me wait for Geno. I don't know to be happy or not if I see the Geno Mii costume. Erdrick, alright, Erdrick is a Mii costume. Not a playable character. It's Tien! Kinda looks like Tien's outfit. And a slime hat. Oh, it's all wiggly. No Geno Mii costume, but no Chocobo costume either.
Along with Hero, the version 4.0 update will also be available.
You're really not getting the Geno Mii costume? Because it like hurts, but it's also hype. And I don't know if I want that hype. Wow, I am shocked the Geno Mii costume didn't show up. I don't know if I should be hype or sad about that, because I wanted to play as Geno again in some form, so, if it had to be as Mii Gunner, cool, but this could also leave the door open for Geno happening down the line, maybe as an extra fighter like Piranha Plant was for the base game, or just a second fighter pass or something, so I don't know how to feel about not getting the Geno Mii costume. Mixed feelings here, so yeah, but overall, pretty cool direct. We didn't get the Geno Mii costume back, so obviously that's been on my mind. I'm going to be perfectly upfront about this, but one of the main characters to get a lot of attention all of a sudden is actually Geno. And obviously, I have a lot of Geno bias. He's my most wanted character, but sincerely, there are a ton of people talking about Geno now that Hero's been released for various reasons that I'll go into. There's even a lot of quote-unquote leaks floating around right now that have Geno on them. Here's one that said Geno was going to be revealed at EVO. Obviously, that wasn't true. This is a fake leak. So that's really what I'm saying. There's a lot of fake leaks floating around lately that have Geno on them, but that does show the character is getting a lot of attention right now. So yeah, it's not my bias. Honestly, Geno is sincerely getting a lot of attention in the speculation scene right now. So why is Geno getting a lot of attention right now? Well, mostly because his Mii costume did not return as expected alongside Hero's release. The old square Mii costumes like Chocobo and Geno from Smash, Wii U, and 3DS would come back alongside with Hero. The Geno and Chocobo Mii costumes did not show up alongside Hero, so now Mii costume theory is basically dead. So we did not get the Geno Mii costume. A lot of people were thinking that we would. The Geno Mii costume was kind of a big deal when Cloud got released. It actually even had a splash screen like a newcomer character, and Sakurai has said before that he does know about the large fan demand for Geno and does think Geno would make a good fighter in Smash. So considering that we didn't get Geno as a fighter yet anyway, a lot of people were anticipating that the Mii costume would come back, myself included. I really thought that was going to happen, and it didn't, so it's a little fishy. It's a little strange that the same thing hasn't happened for Geno here. Geno has a big fan base, Sakurai's aware of that fan base, and if he specifically said, hey, if I can't get a character in Smash, I usually just make them a Mii costume so people can kind of play as them, to just take the Geno Mii costume away is pretty strange. And Geno is already a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so we know that the Smash team has paid for the rights to use Super Mario RPG stuff, specifically to use Geno, so I'm sure if they wanted to use the Geno Mii costume, it would be pretty simple to just port that over or whatever, but they didn't. So there's essentially three things that could be happening here. Number one, the Geno Mii costume is just gone, and Geno is simply a spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but it's a little strange to do that considering the Geno Mii costume existed before, they have the rights to Geno still, and Sakurai is aware of the fan demand to want to play as Geno. Also, it's pretty likely the Geno Mii costume for Smash, Wii U, and 3DS probably sold pretty good back then, and you'd think Square would want to cash in on that again. Two, it's possible the Geno Mii costume could show up later down the road. Maybe we're getting a second Square character for DLC. I'm kind of thinking each company will probably only get one character, at least in this Fighter's Pass, but it's possible another Square character could happen and the Geno Mii costume could happen alongside them. Or it's also possible the Geno Mii costume could happen in some future Mii costume pack that could either happen alongside a character that isn't Square, or maybe the Mii costume packs will continue past when the characters are getting released, and they'll just be Mii costume packs, and maybe Geno will be in one of those. And then three, it's possible that Geno is in fact a playable character, and that is why the Geno Mii costume is not coming back. This is what a lot of people are speculating about basically now, is that even though Geno is a spirit, that was always kind of a fan rule that spirits couldn't become playable characters. It is odd the Geno Mii costume didn't return, and we did actually have quite a few of the Mii costumes from Smash, Wii U, and 3DS upgraded into playable fighters in Smash Ultimate. So Geno would not be the first character to have this happen. Also, Smash Ultimate has gotten a lot of fan favorite characters in it so far. We got Ridley, we got K. Rool, we got Simon Belmont, we got Banjo. Geno is another character fans have wanted in Smash for a long time, and Sakurai is definitely aware of that, especially after the ballot and everything. Of course, simply not having the Mii costume come back is not the only piece of evidence Geno has going for him. So what does this have to do with Geno? To be perfectly honest, if you're going to choose two tracks to fit with Geno, those would be the two tracks. Beware the Forest Mushrooms plays while you're chasing Geno around a forest right before you get him on your party, and Fight Against an Armed Boss is what plays in the first battle while you have Geno on your party. The Geno Mii costume, of course, showed up in Smash, Wii U, and 3DS. And in the base game for Smash Ultimate, the only Square spirits besides Cloud Spirit from Final Fantasy is Geno and Mallow from Mario RPG. So with the absent Geno Mii costume, is Geno going to be one of our final DLC characters for this Fighter's Pass? Personally, and I'm a huge Geno fan, I actually don't think that's going to be the case. Geno, of course, already has a spirit in Smash, and Mario is a series that's already in Smash, so Geno doesn't really fit that criteria. However, something else could be going on with Geno. I I know it's a stretch, but I feel it'd be weird if they kept the individual DLC on the Smash website down to just one character. Perhaps Geno could also be a part of the individual DLC. Now, Geno is, of course, a spirit already in Smash, and of course there's that whole spirits deconfirm characters or something. In fact, I think Geno actually fits better than any other character for specifically being a spirit that becomes a playable character. In the context of Super Mario RPG, Geno is a star spirit who possesses a doll and then becomes like a living character. This actually fits really well for the Geno spirit possessing a doll in like a trailer for the character and becoming suddenly a playable fighter. It'd actually be a really good way to end everything, tie in the everyone is here message with the whole World of Light possessed characters spirit thing that Sakurai came up with. Geno's actually the perfect fit for that whole narrative. But I will admit, Geno would fit very well as a final extra character. Whereas Geno's Mii costume not showing up gives him a bit more of a boost that he could happen as a playable character. I talked about it many videos ago. I didn't really want to make the guess that Starling meant star and could mean Geno, but with all the new Geno evidence, the Geno Mii costume not showing up, that's a possibility here. It could be pointing towards Geno. But those are the good guesses I've heard, either Geno for Smash or something to do with Pokemon. I will say it's very fun to be speculating about Geno again. I really thought he was totally off the table after being a spirit, and somehow he's made a comeback. So, I mean, us Geno fans are pretty used to being disappointed. So, you know, if Geno doesn't get in, whatever. I got Banjo. I'm happy. I'm very satisfied with Smash Ultimate. I just want the rest of the Fighters Pass to be cool, good choices, just, you know, to be fun to play characters, stuff like that. They don't need to be personal characters for me, but it's very cool to see Geno as sort of one of the front runners again. It's just neat. However, there's one right now for Geno that's pretty interesting, and obviously I'm a huge fan of Geno, so I want to take a look at that. So this was over on 4chan, and it says, in development for a fighting game on Switch, and it's just a picture of Geno. It's like an unfinished render of Geno. As you can see, his hat and his cloak aren't even colored yet, just the face is, suggesting this is someone either developing Geno or developing the CGI trailer that could announce Geno. This render of Geno is also nowhere to be found online, so this is the first time anyone's ever seen this image. Now, we've had tons and tons of fake Geno images in the past. He's probably been the #1 character to get like fake image leaks throughout this whole Super Smash Bros. Ultimate speculation cycle. Remember the sassy Geno image? Yeah, that one was fake too. It looked pretty good. I think this one looks pretty good, but yeah, I have no idea whether or not it's real. I do like when Geno gets a new render, though. There are so many of them that he's gotten, some of them from fake leaks, some of them from places like Smashified. Check out Smashified if you haven't. It's a really cool website. So anyways, let's look at this leak and really scrutinize the image itself. So we just have the face of Geno colored, so maybe somebody working on Geno would do the face first because they have to do like expressions and stuff with that, whereas the costume wouldn't change as much. But I'd also say someone faking a leak of Geno might do the face first and leave other parts uncolored to make it really look like they're a developer. Again, someone either creating Geno's render for the game itself or possibly a CGI trailer using Geno. I do think some company that was maybe outsourced to do the CGI trailers for Nintendo would be more likely to leak something than people actually working on the game itself. There is something a little odd about Geno's face here. The lines coming down from his eyes aren't centered. They're really close to the mouth, and that isn't how Geno's eye lines usually are. This, of course, could suggest that Sakurai has redesigned the character, but it could also be a big inconsistency with how Geno usually looks. So once again, I am no expert at debunking image leaks. I do like the look of this leak, and I am happy that Geno is still getting leaks about him, or fake leaks about him, whatever this is. I'm really happy to see that Geno is still a popular enough character that even if this one is faked, someone went out of their way to take the time to create a render and try to trick people with it. It's just really cool to see Geno still that popular for getting into Smash. Hey guys, so before I jump into the main topic of this video, I do have to relay some unfortunate news about that Geno image from the last video. It did turn out to be fake. So this was found over on a Discord server, and this is coming from back in December. This person is saying, as a teaser, and then they show that Geno image, and they say, my friend is making that. I don't think there was any ill intent here. I don't think these are the people who actually made the fake leak over on 4chan. I think someone probably just had access to this image. The image wasn't widely distributed across the internet yet, so someone just had that image, put it up on 4chan as a fake leak, and yeah, that's what happened. So while I'm sad to see a Geno leak turn out to be a fake leak, I wasn't really believing that one too hard. I was just really impressed that I hadn't really seen that many image leaks in a while, and to see Geno be a character that was getting an image leak, it just shows he's still popular, that people still think Geno has a chance and everything in Smash. So I just thought that was neat to still see fake leaks for Geno happening. You know, it just shows he's pretty popular still. He still has a shot here. And then finally, I just want to point out one thing real quick that has to do with Geno. So one highly requested fan favorite character is the character I'm a huge fan of, Geno. Don't ask me how, but some hidden data also implies that Geno is going to be the last DLC. But it's saying Geno could be the last DLC, and we now know that the 5th DLC for the Fighters Pass isn't the last DLC at all. There is, however, still a possibility that the Sans Mii costume is leaking Geno. Nintendo took down 2 Mario RPG tracks a little while back, one of which was heavily associated with Geno. Brace yourself, lads. So if Geno were to be a playable character in Smash, you'd assume that he would come with only 2 tracks, the way Square does this. I think they've even done it for other games outside of Smash. And if you were only going to be able to pick 2 tracks to represent Geno, Beware the Forest Mushrooms is the obvious one. It's kind of his theme song. It's where you first meet him. And the other track, Fight Against an Armed Boss, the first time you get Geno on your party, that's what's playing. Now with the Sans Mii costume coming with a music track, it is entirely possible that Geno will just be a Mii costume again and come with music tracks. The fact that Nintendo and not Square actually placed a copyright on those tracks, this is again similar to how Nintendo doesn't necessarily own Undertale, but they were the ones who put a copyright on Megalovania, and the fact that it's exactly 2 tracks the same way that all these Square characters that have gotten into Smash as playable have, it just seems like Geno's more likely to be playable, if I'm perfectly honest.
You can go first.
I'll go first. All right. I'll just get this one out of the way because it doesn't require much explanation. I would like Geno. I've wanted Geno for a long time. I wanted him in base roster.
In the 10 spot. He wants.
Oh no! I'm not going from bottom. I'm just going random, man.
9 other characters. Way more than Geno.
That is not how I'm listing this. I'm just putting him next because I think after the Fighters Pass would be a good time to just give us Geno finally. I thought base game was cool for him. I thought maybe Piranha Plant spot as like an extra fighter would be cool for him. I would love to get him in this Fighters Pass, but I feel like the Fighters Pass is all like... I mean, Geno's sort of third party, sort of not. He's in such a weird place all the time.
Yeah, well, any other character would have been better than Piranha Plant in the Piranha Plant spot, so you could have said anything.
Well, I want Geno, so I'll just get that out of the way. I don't need to explain that. Geno, off the bat, you don't have to wait for me to be saying Geno in this list. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, so next up on my list, what have I given you? I've given you Jill, and I've given you Geno.
So you're number 9. But for Mario, if there has to be another Mario rep, I have Geno, but not just Geno. I have Geno plus Mallow.
Ooh.
I have a double.
All right.
Because I want both of them. Mallow gets shafted like he doesn't matter.
Some people making YouTube channels pushing Geno and not Mallow.
And
it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate world.
This kind of discrimination I don't stand for. No, I think it would be really cool to have both of them as a... whatever you want to call
Ice
it.
climbers
kind of
type character.
Duo fighter.
Yeah.
And I also feel obligated to say that Geno has to be on there.
Oh, do you? Is there
Maybe Geno didn't make my top 50. I don't know. No, I mean, there would be... If it's going to be a Mario rep, that's what
you'd want. Yeah, I think that would be really cool, actually. I will say, if Geno got in, I'd be really disappointed if Mallow wasn't, like... at least in his victory screen or in a taunt or something. When I originally wanted like Geno and Mallow back in Mario, one of the first things I wanted them back for was Double Dash. I thought they'd be great together because it's a partner team, and I was like, yeah, it's perfect, but it didn't happen. My next one is a Nintendo rep character. So whether or not you count Geno as a Square rep or a Nintendo rep, this is my first fully Nintendo rep character I've talked about yet. It's like Zeke and Julie from Zombies Ate My Neighbors. They'd be I would main them potentially over Geno. I would main them, believe it or not, but they're not getting in. It's just not happening. So speaking of Mario RPG stuff, here's a kind of reaching thing that could potentially be some sort of hint towards Geno. There was an official Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament event, The Next Big Superstar, and this is the image they used to promote it. So over on Twitter, TekkenJ2000 wrote hashtag Geno for Smash, posted that image that was alongside the tournament, and then also posted an image from Super Mario RPG. And yeah, they do kind of line up. It's a star, and then there are, characters around it reaching in. It's kind of similar to the stars in Super Mario RPG, the way they are set up in your little star piece inventory screen. Yeah, I know it's pretty reaching, but I'm a big Geno fan, so anything that points towards Geno possibly getting into Smash, yeah, I'm taking a look at it. Okay, so moving on to interesting Nintendo topics and Smash topics, I gotta talk about that Geno leak. This is the one that Zero covered, and everybody's asking me about it. I'll just say right off the bat that I don't believe this one. I don't think it's a leak at all. I actually saw it like a week or two ago and just kind of wrote it off as nothing. People talked about it for a second and then it just sort of went away. And then Zero decided to cover it, and now I'm seeing people everywhere talking about it. I've seen some articles about it. People keep asking me about it because, of course, it's a Geno leak. So yeah, I kind of got to talk about this one. Okay, so here it is. It's over on Game FAQs, and it was posted by Judge Geno, and it says, the Fighter Pass will be all third-party characters. We started off with Joker from Persona 5, then the hero from Dragon Quest XI, Banjo and Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie, Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, and now Geno from Super Mario RPG. So that said, Geno, of course, could still be the 5th Fighter's Pass character here. Okay, and here's the private message between Judge Geno and Weaver Soral. It says, do you have inside info? And the response is, not much, but here's what I do know. Geno is the 5th Fighter's Pass character, and he only comes with 2 songs. Not much has been planned, as the focus is on finishing Terry and Geno. Hey guys, so first off, I just want to talk about that Geno leak, the one that Zero covered and I was talking about in my last video and saying was probably fake. Well, it turns out it was in fact definitely fake. The person who made it has admitted it was fake. So now we can assume that all information coming out of Weaver Soral is false and that there is barely, if any, evidence to support that Geno is the 5th fighter in the Fighter's Pass. They said that the final DLC for the Fighter's Pass will be Ryu Hayabusa and Geno will be in Wave 2. They have been telling me consistently that there will not be any first-party Nintendo characters, unless you count Geno. By that case, he would be the exception to the rule. So that's basically it. Someone who wants to remain anonymous told me that the next DLC fighter is Ryu Hayabusa. They said Geno would be part of the second wave of characters. First of all, Geno is a leak bait. He's being used to find out who is leaking to people. I was originally misled to believe Geno and told some friends. And it's saying that Geno is not coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and is simply leak bait. They said that the final DLC for the Fighter's Pass will be Ryu Hayabusa and Geno will be in Wave 2. They have been telling me consistently that there will not be any first-party Nintendo characters, unless you count Geno. By that case, he would be the exception to the rule. So that's basically it. Someone who wants to remain anonymous told me that the next DLC fighter is Ryu Hayabusa. They said Geno would be part of the second wave of characters. When it came to that last guy that claimed that Ryu and Geno were coming, how confident are you that they were telling the truth? They claim this is a post from their friend who is now saying Ryu Hayabusa as DLC 5 and then Geno at some point later. Anyway, here's what the person sent me claiming Ryu Hayabusa for DLC 5 and then Geno later on. They did not prove to me this person who posted this is, in fact, their friend they claim is saying Ryu Hayabusa / Geno. I have contact with supposedly a friend of theirs who told me Ryu and Geno, and basically someone messaged me saying Ryu and Geno were coming, but claiming Geno's leak bait, adding Fortnite characters. There's also, of course, the possibility that someone somehow got a hold of that Facebook link or followed what I was saying and found the Facebook post and is now using it to back up their own leak, and they're dismissing the Geno part of the leak, possibly because, honestly, I was the one who was originally talking about this, so maybe they're just trying to mess with me. I mean, a Fortnite character coming to Smash, it has a bit of troll-level quality to this leak. If I hear back from the person who originally told me about all this stuff, that was saying that their friend was telling them Ryu and Geno, I'll let you guys know what they have to say about this 4chan post, and explained how it was using the same proof that I had seen earlier for the Ryu and Geno leak someone told me privately. I've talked to the person who told me about Ryu and Geno a week ago. Brew Elfin is saying that Ryu Hayabusa is coming to Super Smash Bros. As DLC number 5, and sort of a soft rumor that Geno could be coming. That's the whole leak. That's really the leak, and then sort of a somewhat thing that Brew Elfin has also heard a little bit about Geno, but they don't seem as confident in that. The real leak is Ryu Hayabusa and a kind of soft, maybe Geno leak. And then the possibility of Geno, Brew Elfin has heard something about that, but not as convictly. It says Ryu Hayabusa is coming as the next DLC fighter, and Geno for the next wave of fighters. Ryu Hayabusa is joining Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2019. Geno was told in a joking manner by probably the most reliable guy on the planet. So I'm like, And then again, the soft possibility of Geno later on. It's still possible Malo, Smithy, and Chocobo could happen later on. And I'm not going to lie, that gives me some hope for Geno, to be perfectly honest. If Malo, Smithy, and Chocobo, all Square characters, 2 of which are from Super Mario RPG, are getting Mii costumes, and the Geno Mii costume isn't on this list, if this list is true, yeah, that could point to playable Geno. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about that possibility. I made a post over on Smashboards about this. The Malo, Smithy, Chocobo stuff attached to it does make me think Geno is likely, but I have nothing more to say on that other than speculating. The Brew leak also has a soft Geno leak somewhat attached to it, so Geno seems to be slightly a part of both of these leaks, which is good news in my opinion. Obviously, I really want Geno, so having that Mii costume list have Malo and Smithy and Chocobo, all Square characters, 2 of which are Mario RPG characters, as Mii costumes. Yeah, it gives me hope that if Geno was playable, maybe these Mii costumes would show up alongside him. And then the Brew leak also has Brew saying that they somewhat sort of heard about Geno. They're not 100% on that, but that's in there too. So I'm happy Geno's part of both of these leaks. Other frontrunner characters like Doom Guy or Lloyd or Geno and stuff like that, we haven't heard anything about them. I can't completely throw my own bias aside. There's also the possibility it's Geno. I don't think 2 Square characters in the Fighter's Pass seems all that likely, but there is some stuff going for Geno, so yeah, I'll throw him in there too. He's possible. So if these videos are real, then the chances of getting Doom Guy and Geno in Smash as playable characters just skyrocketed. So there you go. If these videos are real, actual leaks, then yeah, we might be looking at getting Doom Guy and Geno in Smash as playable characters, which has me super hyped. I want both those characters really badly. Speaking of characters I really want for Smash, obviously with the Malo Mii costume here, Geno seems very likely as a potential playable character. And I'd like to give a shout out to a group called Operation Starfall. Operation Starfall is a group that is all about getting Geno into Smash and back with Nintendo in a prominent way, so go check them out. I'll leave some links in the description below to their Twitter and their website. Then it goes on to say, I can only confirm 2 of the extra DLC fighters that will release after the pass, which are Geno and Frogger. However, like with Doomslayer, I am not sure what they will release with. Okay, so once again, seeing the Malo Mii costume kind of implies that Geno could be happening later down the line. It does have the correct date for the Terry livestream. It has Doom Guy and Geno showing up later on, and maybe those Mii costumes are being tested by some dev team, and maybe they don't actually have the characters. Maybe they're just testing the Mii costumes, and they decided to leak the ones that were kind of implying some interesting characters, such as Doom Guy and Geno. This is all speculation on my part, but if I had to say how I feel right now, I'm leaning more towards the whole Mii costume leak being real and potentially getting Doom Guy and Geno later on. I have no idea about that specific 4chan post or anything, but yeah, if I had to guess at which characters are coming, I'm going to say Doom Guy and Geno. But the Malo Mii costume and Cacodemon one is making me really hopeful for Doom Guy and Geno, who I really want, so that would be awesome. And they're also both on the Frogger leak, so we'll see what happens. So we didn't get the Malo or Cacodemon Mii costumes, but I didn't expect to get them with Terry. I expect to get them when they revealed Doom Guy or potentially Geno or whatever, and that seemed like it was a tester build. So, and then we still have the Malo Mii costume, Cacodemon Mii costume leak still in play. So we'll have to wait and see if we actually get Doom Guy and potentially Geno. So yeah, hopefully that. A lot of people were thinking that this could point to Doom Guy and Geno potentially getting into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Getting Doom Guy and Geno in Smash is something a lot of fans really want, including myself, so this one had a lot of people pretty excited. The idea of getting Doom Guy as the final DLC fighter, and then Geno as either the first character after the Fighter's Pass, or potentially as like a bonus, sort of like Piranha Plant with the base game, seemed fairly likely after this leak showed up. Essentially deconfirming Geno or Doom Guy for the Fighter Pass 5 spot. So I do think that overall they're probably correct. Fighter Pass number 5 is probably not Doomguy, Geno, Crash, or Ryu Hayabusa. It's also possible these other leaks are true, but they're happening later on. Maybe we're getting Doomguy and Geno later, the Mii costumes are real. Virgin also weighed in on this after Sabi made their tweet, and Virgin said, it's not Doomguy or Geno. It's not Ryu Hayabusa or Scorpion either. But I already said that. Honestly, if I had heard that one of the characters' codenames was going to be Dolly, I would have really thought that could have been pointing to Geno, since he's actually a doll. Speaking of Geno, here's a reaching theory from Jurion. They say, the biggest reach, LOL. And then they point out that the background for Terry when he was first revealed has changed from what we saw in the 45-minute long video. It went from a deep blue to this kind of orangish yellow, and that does sort of fit the blue from Mario RPG and the cover of the Doom game. This, of course, would go along with the Mii costume video, but honestly, like they say, it's a big reach. Another bizarre reaching Geno theory has to do with these new arena messages. One of them says, hear the roar of my full force neutral attack. Over on Twitter, at Cafe Cold Brew wrote, okay, wait. I can't be the only one who noticed this. ... Geno confirmed? Okay, so why does that strange message confirm Geno? Well, because there's actually a really obscure quote from Geno from an old video game magazine that sounds a lot like that message. There you go. So this gives a lot of hope to more niche and less well-known, more obscure characters, like Geno. I'm still pretty much dreaming about the idea of getting Doomguy and Geno together in some trailer. It would just be really cool. These Mii costumes have made me kind of think of the two characters as, showing up alongside each other. And I saw a really interesting post for how that might happen. Over on my Discord, ZT wrote, gameplay of new Doom title. Picks up a Geno doll. That would be such a cool way to reveal Geno and Doomguy together, as in Doomslayer's game. He actually picks up a little Doom doll there, so it would be really cool to replace that with a Geno doll and reveal them both at the same time. With Sabi's source saying that the 5th DLC Fighters Pass character that they've heard is not related to the Mii costume leak, again, if it's real, I'm not really counting on Doomguy and Geno showing up anytime soon. Hey guys, so check it out. I got an actual Geno hat, so we got that going on now. I wrote over on my Discord, I was just talking to Sabi, unless the Sabi source that says it isn't Crash, Hayabusa, Doomguy, Geno is wrong about the order, they just added Dante to the list of who they didn't hear for Fighter 5. I will say they might have the order wrong here, but Dante is now in the same boat as Crash, Hayabusa, Doomguy, Geno for not being the 5th character Sabi's source heard. They'll shoot down the names if it's not the character that they heard. So far they've shot down Crash Bandicoot, Ryu Hayabusa, Doomguy, Geno, and now Dante. Essentially deconfirming Geno or Doomguy for the Fighter Pass 5 spot. Shortly after, Virgin said the same thing. It's not Doomguy or Geno, it's not Ryu Hayabusa or Scorpion either, but I already said that. Dante from Devil May Cry, Geno from Super Mario RPG. And honestly, Geno also fits as a Mario character. So if we got Doomguy and Geno, this Daisy hint would be spot on. It would fit Doomguy's rabbit, and it would fit the Super Mario Bros. Series. Doomguy, Geno, Scorpion, Doomguy, Geno, Dante. And if that was the absolute end of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's characters, I could see us getting a bonus, sort of like Piranha Plant, but this time it would be Geno. It would be a spirit being upgraded, as Geno is a spirit in the game. Maybe even give us the Mii costume back, and then surprise, the spirit enters it, and bonus Geno. It just feels like a great character to end all of Smash on. He's probably the last really fan-wanted character with like a huge fan base, sort of like Ridley, K. Rool, and Banjo. So it'd be a great way to end it. And the fact that Geno has been missing from Mario for so long, and the theme of Ultimate has been everyone is here, getting him finally back into the Mario series like that would just be huge and a great way to end on that everyone is here note. Doomguy, Geno, Dante. Doomguy, Geno, Dante. I'd absolutely love to get Doomguy and Geno. I think they both have pretty good chances anyway, even without this leak. I do think this leak has a lot of things pointing to it probably being from the same person who leaked Ken. So yeah, I'm thinking it's probably real, maybe later down the line. No idea if it's going to have to do with DLC 5, but hey, if DLC 5 was Doomguy and we got Geno as a bonus fighter right after the Fighters Pass, that's like best case scenario in my book, so that would be really awesome. Arl herself as a character, I don't have a particularly strong bias towards, unlike, say, Geno or Doomguy, who I really want because I have like a history with those characters. I I even like the character better if it's someone else, such as if it was Doom Guy and Geno, if it was Keko Mello, if that leak was real. That would be crazy. I'm a huge fan of Doom Guy. That could also mean Geno's in the works. That would be amazing. It's kind of best case scenario for me if Keko Mello turns out to be real. It could be pointing to a Three Houses Fire Emblem rep, though I think the community would be really, really angry if we got another Fire Emblem character, especially in the Fighter's Pass itself. Here's one I really enjoy. Possibly it's pointing to Geno with those 3 question marks. Geno, when he first shows up, is just titled 3 question marks. On that note, once again, even though I'm guessing at Arl, if it turned out to be Doom Guy and the Keko Mello Mii costume leak was real, and we were getting Doom Guy, and maybe Geno is the first, like, post-Fighters Pass character or something like that, that's, like, best case scenario for me. So, yeah, I'm still hoping for that one. Next Fire Emblem game, we all got a petition to get, like, we gotta get Geno in there, we gotta get Doom Guy in there, Dixie Kong, we gotta get Sora from Kingdom Hearts in there. We gotta get all these characters in the next Fire Emblem game, just so Sakurai will then import them into Smash. Because apparently one of the criteria, one of the prerequisites to getting into Smash is how many Fire Emblem games you have under your belt. Okay, that kind of makes me feel like it's possible... I'll come right out and say it. Geno could just be a Mii costume with an upgrade like Sans with like a music track. Again, because it's happened again with another character with Cuphead here. They wrote me, tomorrow is not going to be good for Geno. He's not going to be deconfirmed, officially, but morale will be lower than ever. I wrote, Mii costume, question mark? And after Byleth's reveal, there is a bit of a morale hit to Geno because Cuphead got one of those Sans-style Mii costumes, and it's very possible Geno could get the same. The Geno Mii costume hasn't returned, but it's very possible it will return, but get that kind of upgrade. Now that we know that's something that seems to be coming with these characters, it's not just exclusive to Sans, it could happen for Geno. After the reveal, I asked them, was Cuphead the Geno thing? I get it. It seems these style Mii costumes might be a common trend with a song attached, and Geno could def be that. And they wrote me, yeah. So supposedly this person knew about the Cuphead Sans-style Mii costume before the Direct, and knew it was going to hurt the morale for Geno supporters. It does make sense to me. I personally actually really dig these style Mii costumes. I think they're awesome, and I hope we get more of them. I might do a whole video on some predictions for what some future ones might be. And honestly, if that's what ended up happening to Geno, if Geno's final fate was to remain a Mii costume, but at least be upgraded into one of these really awesome ones and actually come with some music and everything, I'd be totally fine with that. Not giving up hope for Geno to become a playable character, but still just saying, if this is what happened with Geno, I'd actually be really cool with it and very happy to play a Mii Gunner, Sans, Cuphead-style Mii costume character. So now let's talk about what's going on with Doom Guy and Geno and that whole Keko Mello video leak. Before I get too deep into things here, one neat thing that's going on with Geno right now is that you can actually use Byleth's stage to sort of recreate that first fight in Mario RPG, and that's pretty cool on the chandeliers here. Last time I was talking about how someone told me the night before the Byleth Direct that something in it might lower morale for Geno, and that something was the Cuphead Sans-style Mii costume, because it meant that we'd be getting more Mii costumes in this style, and that could very well be why the Geno Mii costume hasn't returned. Maybe the Geno Mii costume is just being upgraded, and Geno won't actually be a playable fighter, but just a upgraded Mii costume. I just want to be perfectly clear, this does not mean that Geno will be an upgraded Mii costume. I still have hope for Geno to be a full-fledged playable character. It's just a possibility, and I was just speculating on it, but this was by no means any sort of leak that Geno was just going to be one of those Mii costumes. That was just all speculation, everything like that, both on my part and the person who was saying that the Cuphead-style Mii costume would hurt morale for Geno becoming a playable character. It's just all speculation, guys, so Geno has just as much of a chance as he ever did to become a full-fledged playable character, and I'm still rooting for that. And then let's say we actually do get Sora. So we get Sora from Square Enix, and then we also get a Geno-style, Cuphead Sans Mii costume. Imagine that E3. We would get Master Chief, Steve, Sora, and Geno all in Smash. That would be like probably the craziest E3 I can possibly think of. Even as a Geno fan who wants him playable, I do also like Sora. I'm not one of those people who sees like rivalries between characters. I like Kingdom Hearts. I like Super Mario RPG. And again, honestly, I would like a Sans-style Mii costume for Geno. I would not be mad at that if that was his fate. So I think getting Master Chief, Steve, Sora, and Geno all at E3 is a potential possibility here, and that would just be the craziest Smash reveal I can possibly think of. I can never stray away from Geno speculation, and one of the new Pick of the Days from Sakurai has some possible relevance to the Super Mario RPG series. Over on Twitter, @MitchTwitterKD wrote, "Iron being casted in lava/fire, and you know who does that? A Smith." And then a picture of Smithy, the main boss from Super Mario RPG. It's kind of a stretch, but again, I'm a big fan of Geno speculation. Over on Twitter, PJiggles wrote, "I just realized that this could be a perfect solution to potential DLC characters that are already spirits. Geno, Shantae, Badana Waddle Dee, etc." So essentially, here's the theory. If they can go in and take Mega Man out and replace it with the Cuphead Mii costume, you could do the same thing for, say, the Geno Spirit event. If Geno got one of these deluxe Mii costumes, you could simply take the character out that is already there. I think it's Sheik with a bunch of Mario characters, and you could replace that with the actual Geno Deluxe Mii costume. You could even do this if Geno became a full-fledged playable character. You could replace the Spirit characters with the playable character. It does seem like replacing things that are already in the Spirit events is possible. And then, I mean, I like a lot of the Spirit characters. Obviously, I'm a huge Geno fan. I really want Geno to be upgraded. Other characters from like first-party stuff, from upgraded things. Obviously, I want Geno. And once again, Geno is in that weird spot where like he's a Mario character, but he's third-party. So always weird what you count him as. Just for Geno.
Do it for Geno.
Do it for Geno. So they can go into the game, mess with the Spirit data, and change it. So if, I don't know, a random character, Geno got in the game, you could put Geno in and take Sheik out for the Spirit, the Mii costume,
right.
Spirit fight, or not Mii costume, not Mii costume, the Spirit fight for playable Geno. So I've been wearing this Geno hat for quite a while now, and I have some good news for Geno fans. It looks like wearing the hat for a prolonged period of time actually dyes your hair blue. And if we know one thing about characters getting into Super Smash Bros. As playable characters, it's that having blue hair is the #1 most important feature that gets your character into the game. So now I can safely say that Geno definitely has dyed blue hair under his hat, and that means Geno is almost guaranteed to be part of our second Fighter's Pass. So that's really good news for Geno fans such as myself. If anyone out there wants to stand with me in solidarity for Geno's chances of getting in Smash, I suggest you dye your hair blue as well. With all of our collective support, I'm sure Sakurai will provide us with blue-haired characters getting into Super Smash Bros. For years to come. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below. Obviously, seeing Square still involved in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is exciting for fans who want Square-related characters. My most wanted Super Smash Bros. Ultimate character would be Geno, so obviously this is exciting for me. We still don't have that Geno Mii costume, so this could bode well for Geno. A lot of times when Paper Mario comes up, people are surprised that I actually really like the character, because obviously my most wanted character is another character from the Mario RPG series, Geno. Over on Twitter, now, I don't want to give too much of a history lesson here, but let's go back to the game that Geno's actually from, Super Mario RPG. Within Superstar Saga, there's actually a small cameo by Geno during this little minigame, linking the series back to the original Super Mario RPG. As much as I am a Geno fan and really want Geno in Smash, I will admit Paper Mario actually makes more sense if you're trying to represent all these Mario RPG games. Paper Mario sort of links them all together. Now that said, of course, I'd still rather get Geno as a playable character, but check out this potential scenario. What if we got Paper Mario as the playable character and then Geno as one of those deluxe-style Mii costumes like Sans and Cuphead got? That would actually make kind of sense. You'd get Paper Mario representing the Mario RPG games, and then you'd also get Geno as sort of a playable character, as, again, a Mii costume, but one of those deluxe ones, and you'd really kind of represent that full gambit of Mario RPG games. While, of course, I really want Geno as the full-fledged playable character, I wouldn't be too mad at that outcome. It would make sense, and it would honestly represent the Mario RPG games really well to do Paper Mario as a playable character and still get Geno in there, but as an upgraded deluxe Mii costume. Of course, that might not be what we get. Sometimes Nintendo does listen to the fan demand, and while Paper Mario definitely has a lot of fans, I do think Geno as a Smash character has a bigger fan base trying to push for him to get into Smash. It's just a known thing that Geno has a very large fan base for Smash, despite being a one-off, kind of obscure character. Of course, Smash fans really wanted King K. Rool to get into Smash, And that's who we ended up getting. So I could see the same thing happening with Geno and Paper Mario. I could actually see Geno winning out, but it would be because of the Smash fan demand, not necessarily because he represents the Mario RPG games as well as Paper Mario. I think Dixie Kong would represent the Donkey Kong Country games a bit better, but we didn't get her. We got King K. Rool because that's who the Smash fans wanted. Same thing could happen with Geno here. However, either scenario I'd actually be okay with. Again, I like Paper Mario. I'd be happy to get him as a playable character, and I do think Paper Mario with a Geno Deluxe Mii costume would make a lot of sense. I don't think Paper Mario works very well as a Mii costume, whereas Geno actually does. He would fit pretty well. You could actually make it look exactly like Geno and just do a deluxe costume and it would work well. So I could see that scenario happening, but either way, I'd probably be pretty happy. I'm a fan of the Mario RPG games, whether they're Paper Mario, the original, or the Mario and Luigi games. So getting any one of these fighter passes focused on the Mario RPG games, I'd be pretty happy about. On this note of Paper Mario and Geno kind of being rivals vying for a space in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, this happens a lot with Geno, and honestly, I don't like to look at it as rivalries, because a lot of the characters Geno ends up being a rival to, I actually really like. Even though Geno's my favorite character and the one I really want to get in, I don't see like it being a negative if Paper Mario got in, even though they're both sort of vying for that Mario RPG spot. Geno seems to often have characters that this happens with. You could say Waluigi and Geno are both attempting to get in for another Mario spot. You could say Sora and Geno are both trying to get in for a Square spot. You could say someone like Rayman or Bandana Waddle Dee are, against Geno trying to get in as an upgraded Spirit spot. All sorts of things like that. I feel like Geno falls into so many categories that he's often at odds with another character. However, I like Waluigi, I like Sora, I like Bandana Waddle Dee and Rayman, I like Paper Mario. So I never really like to see these things as direct rivalries, as oftentimes I want both characters. And then just one final note about Geno. Jeff Grubb, once again, wrote this: Nintendo still doesn't add Super Mario RPG to Switch Online Super NES games. At Moose_ZL wrote, what's the deal? Square? And Jeff Grubb wrote, maybe, could just be holding it off for Mario's 35th anniversary. Now, I think Jeff is just speculating here, but it would be really cool if, say, Geno got into Smash and that was part of the Mario 35th anniversary celebration. Supposedly, they're doing a bunch of Mario games this year, so if we got Super Mario RPG on the Switch Online and they revealed Geno for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate all around this 35th anniversary celebration, that would be awesome. I talked about this a little bit in my last video about Paper Mario and how Geno is sort of a rival to a lot of characters, or at least it can be seen that way, and how I don't really like looking at it that way. Basically, I was saying that Paper Mario is a Mario RPG representative, so it would probably, kill Geno's chances of getting in if Paper Mario was the representative for the Mario RPG games. Similarly, Neku is a Square rep, and I feel like if we got another Square rep for the second Fighters Pass, we'd probably only get one, so if it was Neku, we probably wouldn't get Geno, at least not as a playable fighter, maybe as like a deluxe Mii costume or something. But I also said that I don't like looking at things like these rivalries, because Geno ends up being the rival to a lot of characters I actually like. I like Paper Mario. I really like The World Ends With You, so I'd be super excited about getting Neku in Smash, even though, it would maybe mean Geno isn't in Smash. There's other characters, too. Characters like Waluigi, it's a Mario character. Does that stop Geno from getting in? Maybe, but I still really like Waluigi. So all that said, if Neku actually did get in Smash, even if it meant Geno didn't, I'd still be really excited about that. I really like Neku, I really like The World Ends With You, so yeah, I'd be happy about Neku getting in Smash. Okay, and then the final thing I want to talk about in this video is just some interesting stuff that's going on with Geno. This has nothing to do with all that information I was just talking about. So the fact that I was saying Challenger Pack 7 I was told was supposed to be a third party, I'm not saying it's Geno or anything like that. This is just totally unrelated Geno evidence that's popped up, and I just wanted to highlight it because I'm a fan. So I've seen this post floating around on Twitter and over on Smashboards, and it's just a pretty interesting post. I'm just going to read down it. It says, one of the oldest, largest, and most well-documented character requests in the history of Smash. Sakurai, who has straight up acknowledged his popularity and revealed had plans to develop him as a full-fledged figure before, has shown interest in granting more fan requests on an interview. Smash 4 Mii costume had significant fanfare in the form of a splash screen, something still unique in the realm of Mii costumes to this day, but is still mysteriously absent in Ultimate. Mii List and Kakomelo still standing as credible and undebunked leaks that point to Mii costumes that would unmistakably come with the character. video takedowns in the 2 pieces of music most associated with him around the same time as Banjo-Kazooie and Megalovania remixes were similarly taken down. Legacy XP, a popular Brawl mod who prominently featured the character, has been shut down by Nintendo after years of not being messed with. Super Mario RPG still missing in action on Nintendo Switch Online. ARMS Rep being basically a death sentence to the long-held baseless fan assumption that spirits deconfirm, has maintained confidence with insider circles for quite a few months. I don't know about that last part about insider circles being confident in Geno for quite a few months, but all that other stuff definitely stacks up in Geno's favor. One thing I hadn't talked about yet in regards to Geno is how Legacy XP, that Brawl mod, was taken down recently. Over on my Discord, Monkey D. Lenny wrote me this. The big thing, though, that keeps coming back up is the disappearance of Legacy XP. If you're not already familiar, Legacy XP was a Project M build that showcased Ridley, Waluigi, Metal Sonic, and Geno as its big draws, with Geno in particular sort of being touted as the star attraction. And again, the main stars of Legacy were Ridley, who was already in Ultimate, Waluigi, Metal Sonic, and Geno. And again, Geno is one of the star characters, of that Legacy XP build, so it is possible Nintendo may have decided to, pull the plug on that one because Geno might be coming to Ultimate. That would be the reading into things, argument here. But we do have Legacy XP being taken down recently, and it prominently features Geno as a character in Smash, and then we also have an artist for Mario RPG artwork displaying that artwork very recently, and it's just a little strange that these things are coming up right now. Again, this stuff could of course all just be coincidence, but hopefully this fares well for Geno getting into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, I also will point out that Geno's spirit in the game is represented by Sheik. Not that I think a World of Light visual glitch with Sheik would have too much to do with Geno's spirit, but it's something I thought worth pointing out. And there's an interesting theory about Challenger Pack 7 right now that involves Geno. Obviously, Geno's my most wanted character for Smash, so I'm always following this stuff. Over on Twitter, @TheWolfBunny64 wrote, "Wait a second. Challenger Pack 7, Super Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars. That could be the perfect formula for a reveal such as that. I'll have to wait and see." And then I noted not only is it Challenger Pack 7 and Geno's from Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars, the fighter is also fighter number 77. So this one feels like a bit much of a reaching theory here, but hey, I'm a Geno fan, so I wanted to go over it. However, we have seen Sakurai actually take note of numbers in the past for character hints, and it is a little strange that Challenger Pack 7 is lining up with fighter number 77, and Geno, of course, is from a game, Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars, where you collect 7 stars throughout the game. So there's a lot of 7 going on there for Geno, so it could fit for him. Can't help but think if all these 7s did line up, that Geno might have a good possibility then, as he's from Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars. Geno, of course, was a Mii costume in Smash 4, and we've sort of been waiting to see if that Mii costume will return ever, so it is possible that could happen. Hopefully, if Geno did come back as a Mii costume, he'd get that treatment the same way Sans and Cuphead did, and have like a full-fledged render for his head and everything. That would be awesome in my opinion. If Geno got in with a music track as a Mii costume, I wouldn't be mad at that if he got the love and care that the Sans and Cuphead Mii costume did. This is going to show us how to beat all the tough spirits. Geno has a tough spirit, I will say. Yeah, okay, well, that was cool, guys. Thanks for watching. I guess I'm going to end the stream now, but yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Geno hope, yeah, still have hope for Geno, so let's see what happens.